Hi, everybody. It's Henry Allen, and we have a special guest here on Talk It Up More today. We're hanging out here at Cafe Sicilia at the corner of Short and Main, and it's a wonderful place. This is Mr. Charles Clark, who is the, what would you call it, the instigator of?
It's one word for it.
Founder of Cape Ann Planet. And it's a wonderful website. It's, fairly newish, right?
It's fairly new. There was a website 3 years ago called Cape Ann Planet that was very different. It was, what we're trying to do now is this is a news aggregator website. So we scour the internet for stories having to do with Cape Ann that are of interest to people who live on Cape Ann, and put them all in one place, because there's been a huge growth, as you know, in the internet. Dealing with Cape Ann. Not only news, but the arts has exploded.
That's right.
Sports and being outside, gardens, whatever. Food is huge right now.
Yeah.
And people want to find out about it. And there are dozens and dozens of websites on Cape Ann that are sprouting up and that are doing all this work. The problem is people don't have enough time to find out everything. So what Cape Ann Planet does is it goes and searches for the most interesting stories on a given day. We put those into a daily blog called Catch of the Day.
Catch of the Day.
So that you don't have to spend the amount of time that we
searching
do
for
to go
stories.
It's about 30 or 40 websites a day.
And it's not just Cape Ann. It's interesting national news that local people might take interest in as well. Now, do you have you done sort of field research and surveys to find out, or is there a survey that you fill out if you subscribe to the the mailing list, where you can sort of pick and choose what say I have a great interest in the arts and in history and in music.
Right.
Can I select those particular things, or is this sort of like a broad sweep catch of the day for anybody who...
Yeah, it's a broad sweep, but we do categorize the story. So if you're interested particularly in, as you might be, not that you're not interested in other things, but arts and entertainment, because that's what you're spending a huge amount of time on, you can search for those stories only. What we try to do is give something for everybody. They're probably, what these are links to stories that appear elsewhere on the web. And we put up on a daily basis about anywhere from 10 to 20 links.
Okay.
And try to make that a interesting and good use of time read for people.
That's wonderful.
Because I don't think people most people won't spend all the time on it. So they might go and they might pick out 3, 4, or 5 stories that they like, link onto those, and then they're gone.
Yeah, one of the things that I really appreciate about Cape Ann Planet for myself, because I am such a busy person, I love the way that it's so simple and laid out. It's not, there aren't a lot of bells and whistles. It's kind of no frills, which is really, really great to, and it might be really good for people who don't have a whole lot of technological savvy to be able to explore a website. It's all laid out there very, very clearly, cleanly. I know exactly where I'm going to go to find arts and entertainment. And
so that was done very intentionally. People always want you to add bells and whistles to a website, and I think that clunks it up.
Yeah,
and
it
it's disturbing visually to the reader. So I wanted to keep this as simple as possible.
Do you have a particular profile that you're targeting in terms of your readership?
There's a real interesting mix, I think, on Cape Ann, and it really has changed. It's not only the people who live here, but the people who have lived here in the past who are interested in Cape Ann.
Yeah.
So it's much broader. I wouldn't try and stereotype it. My sense is that there's been a huge influx of people who have moved here because they like it. There's been a huge influx of people who are interested in the arts, whether visual or performing.
And now with the new, real push from City Hall for cultural tourism, we've always had tourism. We've always had a great tourism, and and this, I imagine, is going to be valuable for people who want to come who haven't been here before.
Absolutely. I mean, I
So
think
past, present, and future.
I think there are three types of tourism that have been, in just as broad strokes, they've been going on. One has been certainly the cultural tourism. Then there's historical tourism that's clearly within this whole region, this whole New England region, certainly north of Boston. North of Boston region. And then there's the visual tourism. People come here because it's a beautiful place to live and to visit. So we try to tap into all of that. I try to get information, stories up about what our elected representatives are doing every day, not only from their own websites or their press releases and so forth, but what's out there in the news. So it's not just what they want us to know, but what we should know.
Do you think that this is a valuable tool for our local politicians as well, to stay connected to what their different ward, like city councilors, for instance, what's going on in their ward and how they're being represented? And have you talked to them about this?
I think so. I have about the last version of Cape Ann Planet, not so much now or yet because this is fairly new.
Right.
But I think that any news outlet or channel is going to be helpful for elected officials to communicate with their constituents. So hopefully they will tap into it. This kind of site can do more than just a print medium can do. And we can tap into videos and so forth. So I think there's a ton of potential.
I agree. Is there a place on there for commentary? Do you want that kind of interaction? Or is it just a place to go and get news right now?
I'm staying away from commentary. I've watched how that has evolved.
It can get pretty...
And I'm not impressed.
Pretty heated.
As an administrator of a site like this, you can spend all your time administering the commentary and moderating it.
Right.
And my experience has been, for all the good commentary you get a lot of trolls. People know what those are. People who just are beating up on people, and it's not very positive. So I think they can go elsewhere for that. So I'm not going to spend time doing that.
I think that's smart, and there are other websites that have comments available, and there is a lot of bullying and a lot of
There is. It was when this all started, particularly with news sites. It was sort of the wild, wild west out there. There were no rules, and editors didn't know what the rules were, and they kind of let it go. And now
it still kind of is.
Yeah, but it's been reined in certainly by the larger, New York Times, Washington Post, people like that, and reined it in. And I think and I think it's actually reined in on the local level too. But for a while there, it was wild, wild west, and I don't think very helpful to the community.
No, I agree with you.
And the other thing with Planet is Cape Ann Planet is, again, it's capeannplanet.com.
Yes.
Is that it's a link to a story that appears elsewhere. So if someone wants to comment on that story,
they can comment on the original site.
Exactly.
Very nice.
Exactly. And the other thing that this does for people who have websites that generate news or arts content is that they benefit from Cape Ann Planet driving traffic to them.
Absolutely.
One statistic that I latched onto had to do with the Washington Post website. And it gets 40% of its referrals from a site called the Drudge Report, which is a national and an international, which does something on a national scale that we're trying to do here on a local scale, which is to be a news aggregator, to go out and get the stories that pertain and put them there to refer them to other sites. So if we send readers to those other sites, they benefit from the traffic and their advertisers benefit.
Right.
So it's not a takeaway from them at all.
Do you have a vehicle to receive feedback from your readership saying, I'd like to see more stories about blank? Or, constructive criticism saying, I love what you're doing. I think there's too much this, and I'd like to see more of that.
Absolutely.
How can people reach you?
Yeah. There's a contact tab on the menu at the top of the website, just under the masthead. And on that contact is an email directly, which is capeannplanet@gmail.com.
Great. And I'll put these links in the doobly-doo right below.
Terrific. And those will come directly to me. So then I'll be able to respond, and I already have. People, it's also the vehicle for sending in ideas for links to articles that appear on the web that
Oh,
we might not
wonderful.
have time, because there
That's
will be
great.
a lot of that. So
That's so great.
it can be interactive. Hopefully, will be interactive with the community that way, so that people can see this as another place that they can get the word out.
Do you have an idea of what your current readership is?
It's
Numbers?
not huge at this point. It's going to take a while.
Yeah.
It's a lot of repetition, a lot of promotion
Yeah.
like this, using social media to as another way to share the stories. Because if I ask you or someone else to share the link to Cape Ann Planet with their Facebook page, for instance,
Yep.
or their Twitter account, then those will go to circles well beyond
Right.
what we've developed so far.
Right. And you have
So-
a Facebook page, you have a Twitter page.
Absolutely.
And all of these links are on the website as well, capeandplanet.com.
Yes.
Right.
So I'm not worried about the numbers right now. I try not to even look at them. I think that's an invitation to failure. I think what I'm
Right.
trying to do is concentrate every day on putting together a interesting, clean read for people. One other thing that I think is unique to the Cape Ann Planet site is that we have thumbnail images that sort of introduce the story, and both the image and the text are both links to the story. So
That's
try
great.
to use some things that are illustrative, some
Yep.
things that are funny,
Yep.
some things that are cultural. For instance, we had a story the other day. Right now, it's graduation season.
Right.
So
Happy graduation, everybody.
there are a lot of collections of speeches and jokes that people are doing, not
Right.
only in the area colleges, but
Right.
throughout the country, obviously.
Yeah.
And one that appeared last week in the news was Meredith Vieira,
Yes.
who spoke at Tufts.
Mhm.
And she wanted to tell the students, so the graduating seniors, to be their own person. So she brought on as a prop the left shark that was a dancer during the Katy Perry halftime show during the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That became a cultural phenomenon because the left shark wasn't in step with everyone else
Yeah.
on the stage. And so it was sort of a metaphor for doing your own thing. And she was
That's
encouraging that. So we tapped into the left shark. That's
beautiful.
just a small sort of cultural thing.
Well, from one left shark to another,
Yeah.
I want to thank you for being a guest on Talk It Up More. And I should say that Cape Ann Planet is our newest community partner with the North Shore Folklore Theater Company. And, you know, if you are interested in being a sponsor, either reciprocally or if you go to the sponsors page on our website, northshorefolk.org, we're having our first ever Folkathon Phonathon this week
Terrific.
coming up. And we're trying to boost our sponsorship because it's something that we're really proud of, to be community
Absolutely.
supported and sponsored. And what I love about Cape Ann Planet is that the name says it all. It stems from and is largely about Cape Ann. Its focus is here, but its scope and its reach is global. It's all across the planet. Stories that are going to matter to people who live here in Cape Ann. So capeannplanet.com. Visit it, subscribe. It's free.
It's totally free.
It's totally free.
Thank you very much for having me on. I think what you're doing is terrific.
Thank you so much.
Look forward to seeing it and sharing it with the viewers.
Wonderful. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, good.
We'll have you back.
All right, thanks.
All right. Thanks, everybody.